Hi everyone, and welcome to this virtual fireside chat with Google Cloud. I'm Pip White, Managing Director of UK and Ireland for Google Cloud, and I'm really excited to be speaking today with Gareth Richardson, who's the COO from our customer and partner Thought Machine. So Gareth, tell me, who are Thought Machine and what are you looking after there?
Thanks, Pip. Thank you for inviting me to take part in this fireside chat. It's really good. Thought Machine was founded to build a cloud-native core banking system. Most people don't really know what core banking is. It's unknown to them, but really it's the heart of the bank. It's what holds the record of you, the customer, and how much money you have in your bank. And then we also are a product engine, so we keep a track of how your products are running. And by products, we mean like a mortgage or a credit card. So we're really the heart of how a bank logs and knows what's going on inside itself. In terms of what I do at Thought Machine, I'm the COO, but not necessarily the most traditional one, in that I don't really run the operation as such. What I run in Thought Machine is all the client projects that we have with our customers, all of our customer banks. I'm responsible for all of those, and then also responsible for the partnerships that we have with the technology vendors that make up the team sport that is core banking.
Pretty busy then.
That's good. That's good.
It'd be great to have a bit more detail about what role we're playing at Thought Machine.
Absolutely. So Google are multiple facets, really. We work with you with customers, and you are an enabler of our technology to be deployed in our customer environments. So we quite often, the vast majority of our customers are running on Google Cloud. We're running in public cloud with their own instance, and we deploy, or they deploy, our technology inside their estate that's bought from Google. But we use all open source technologies, but we rely on things like Google Kubernetes Engine. We rely on Stackdriver. We rely on the ecosystem of a cloud native software that we get from you guys that our banks can then install, manage, and run and maintain. We also, even inside the company, we run a chunk of our development servers on Google Cloud. We run all of our Meet stuff and all of our email and our business applications, if you like, all run on Google Apps. So we're both sides of it, and use Chromebooks as our way of limiting people's access to software and code and things like that. So it's quite embedded through different parts of our operating system.
Yeah. Okay. And what would you say are the most impressive benefits that you've seen or you're seeing by adding Google Cloud as one of your cloud providers, as you say?
If I take it a different way, having Google as a partner with our customers somewhat, the benefits have been manyfold. But we have ways of working. We have a culture that we bring to our projects. And for financial services, cloud is a people and skill problem for them to step towards those areas. And a cultural problem of how they manage these programs, how they run in an agile way, but in a massively scalable architecture with controls, with everything else. And Google's been a huge help in bringing some of that culture to bear, some of the tools and procedures and the working practices that just bring to life how they should be working. We've worked very closely on one of our largest customers, Lloyd's, on how we can both work on building a culture that actually enables agile change at scale, enables an engineering mindset to be brought into the product. So we bring a product journey there. So Google's technology and is critical in the middle of that, and it wouldn't have been selected otherwise, and it's been selected by Lloyd's for that. But it's also the other pieces that Google's brought to bear around that, brought to bear the ability to think through different problems for the bank and come up with innovative solutions. Some of the I know in the past they've been been great at solutioning some of the potential challenges that are there and coming up with tools usage that has really unlocked a chunk of opportunity that our banks really wouldn't have come to envisage without it.
Yeah, and you talked a bit about partnership there. And obviously, the strategic partnership between ourselves at Google Cloud and Thought Machine. How do you think that's going to support your growth ambitions?
Our goal is to build a cloud-native core banking system that unlocks banks from legacy technology, which is relatively easy to say, but the unlocking legacy technology means huge amounts of migration, means huge changes from this technology that's been there 70, 80 years. And in some cases, I mean, just to talk about the complexity of this slightly, if you take a bank in Japan, a mortgage is a multi-generational mortgage. It runs for 90 years. And it can be passed on to your son and to your daughter as you pass, and they have to take on the obligations that you've signed up. Sounds great in some ways if you've been a bit vindictive, but that complexity means that these products have been running since the 1940s. They are still live today and have to be supported. But there's financial innovation every generation. Every 10 years, someone comes up with a new way of doing something. And they stay around, they're still supported, and you end up with a proliferation of really complicated products. And for us to do those migrations safely, these mainframes have not been turned off in 40 years. They're still running because they do a great job at what they do, but they're not working in this new digital phase. And people have done a great job of covering that or hollowing out the core, but they've got to a certain point where they have to make changes to move past that. And for Google Cloud and us in partnership, we're raising people's awareness of what's possible. This isn't us with a technology looking for a problem. The problem's there, and the business case has been well understood for a long time, but the risk is what's held people back from making any of the changes. But together, we really are able to move an industry and help an industry move to where it patently needs to go to.
Yeah, well, we're excited to be part of the journey with you. I just flipped the question a little bit into something that's a topic that's close to my heart. I'm sure to yours as well, Gareth. But relatively young company, lots of ability to sort of shape and influence the culture that you're building there. And as you grow, what role do you see DEI playing as Thought Machine continues to sort of expand and grow momentum in the market?
I mean, massive, obviously. I mean, we have a huge part of our human capital to enable that we can bring together. It's a bit of a grim technocrat word, but there's a huge amount of potential in lots of places in this business to be able to bring benefit and bring great people together. We're very proud of the sheer breadth of nationality that we have in our firm, and we've done really well to gender that. But saying gender, we're struggling at the moment. We're not happy with the gender balance, particularly. Just to be, we're an engineering firm. There is a general problem with the demographic of engineers and other things. 60% of our firm is engineering, but we need to do better at that. And we're sponsoring things like Django Girls and other areas to really get girls into STEM and coding sort of subjects and things like that. But brilliant people appear everywhere, and we have to be able to unlock that. We've looked at quite a lot at how do we change from the job ads that we put out that may limit some people wanting to apply who could do it, and how do we look at our imagery in the firm. And that's not trying to massage anything, it's just trying to show the real reality of what could be possible if people come on board. And you have to spend quite a lot of time thinking about those things to make sure that your culture is supportive of those types, and have a very adult discussion about that inside the firm about what's important.
Okay, it's good to hear that that it's top of mind for you as well as for us here at
absolutely.
Cloud. Yeah. So final question from me. I'm very keen. Obviously, we're in the middle of a very difficult and challenging time globally right now with the pandemic. And the economic impact of that. How is Vault? You talked about Vault at the beginning of our discussion, and we know that's powered by Google Cloud. But how is that? How is Vault helping your customers to get prepared for and better equipped to handle these more unexpected events that we as a kind of global people are facing every day of our lives right now?
Well, there's huge macro trends, right? I mean, cash is stopped in a large amounts of the market, so we've all moved to sort of digital money, not crypto. We've moved to using online transactions and things like that, which is a totally different usage model than a lot of the banking platforms are already set up to handle. The branch was there to handle cash, and move that backwards and forwards. That ain't happening in the same way, and hasn't been for a long time, but it's accelerated. This has put a huge amount of pressure on the digital change initiative, digital agendas there. And Vault enables that to happen. Without Vault, you are stuck with a huge amount of pieces you cannot do. If you want to have, like I said, one account that has a current account and a credit card on the same place, it used to have to be that you had to settle the credit card, wait 5 days for the process to come through before you could recognize it in your current account because of those silos moving backwards and forwards. We can break all that down. It also enables people to work and banks to work more flexibly and be able to, we all know the stories when certain organizations obviously lost their call centers in India and other things as they went through the pandemic, or operational controls or operational ways of working had not been digitized because they never needed to be. And then all of a sudden the people can't get into the office. So now what do you do? If the reason they weren't digitized was it didn't need to be, or the core wouldn't allow it. And whenever you get to it, in banking, there was always a phrase, but how would you do that in the core? And it stopped a lot of innovation. It stopped a lot of ability for banks to be able to react to sort of pandemics and other things like that. And moving to these sorts of tools and technologies powered by Google Cloud, we're able to break free of some of those physical barriers. We can also bring the processing closer to wherever people are. And I think to date, we've obviously built processing around mega cities and things like that. If this continues with the pandemic and other things, we've lost 1.5 million people have already moved out of London in the last 6 months. That's a big demographic change. It's over 10% of the population's moved. What we can do is we can bring on a macro scale across the world, we can start bringing our processing closer to the customers without having to invest in huge data centers. We can put edge services into different places, which gives people better performance, but also means banks are more responsive and seen to be more responsive.
Okay, very interesting, and to hear your thoughts around that. Gareth, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been so interesting to hear how Thought Machine are using cloud technology to really change the way banks are running their core banking infrastructure, definitely disrupting the market. And I really look forward to following the Thought Machine journey in the future and seeing more of our continued customers coming on board. So thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today, and I look forward to speaking again soon.
Look forward to talking soon. Thanks. Bye.